Welcome to the weekly wind down. I am your host, Monique J. And on today's episode, we are doing girl chat again. This is our final episode of the season. So I like to end the season having a little girl chat, talking about the things that have been going on in myself and my guest life. We're going to have a very special guest. You guys saw her in season 1, Miss Cherie Monique, which she is also she's everything. I mean, she does a bunch of stuff, but we'll find out about that when we come back. But I want to thank you guys for tuning in to this episode of the Weekly Wind Down. Tell you to grab your notebooks, your tablets, and don't forget to grab your glass of wine and tune in for this episode of the Weekly Wind Down. Welcome back to the Weekly Wind Down. I'm your host, Monique J. And again, as I stated, I have a very special guest today. Her name is Miss Cherie Monique. Cherie is an educator. She is a director, a writer, my fabulous makeup artist, and she even gets behind the camera. She's a member of the Team Weekly Wind Down. So I thought it was the right thing to do to bring Miss Cherie back on this episode, bring her on this season, in the season, with a special guest, Miss Cherie. So welcome to the show, Cherie.
Hello. Mine is special.
Right, you special. Okay. So just in case nobody watched episode 2 of season 1, we know they crazy if they didn't, but just say they didn't.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am what am I not? I'm a writer, first and foremost. And then second, I would say I'm the second talent on that totem pole is acting. And then I'm a makeup artist, a freelance makeup artist. I did makeup a little bit in college, but I started learning more about makeup on my own about 5 years ago and started out beating a few faces, just on a whim. And then from there, it just turned into a full-on freelance business where I do special occasion makeup, weddings, proms. If you just need a makeup for a gala or your night out with your girls and you just don't know what you're doing, I also teach makeup lessons. Okay. I've now last year added special effects makeup to the roster. Okay. So cuts, bruises.
More money.
Right.
I was going to say that did you mention, I said you were an educator. Did you mention? What are you educating or what you do?
I finally am a theater arts teacher for high school. I'm getting certified in passed my test in the content area of teaching theater for early childhood through 12th grade. Okay. But the grade level I've always wanted to teach is 9th through 12th. It's high school.
Yeah, that's a good age. They ain't corrupted all the way yet, but they can understand what you say, and if they don't do what you say, it's because they chose not to, not that they don't get it. Like if it was a 3 or 4. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Why did you choose either of the professions? Makeup, why did you choose that, as well as getting into theater? Why did you choose those?
Writing is something I've been doing since I was 13. So I started out doing poetry, and poetry was my love all the way until I got to high school and to college. And I started doing short stories and writing my own plays. And then when I moved out here, I wrote plays for other people or for myself, entered them in play festivals. That did well. But my very first love and biggest passion has always been with movies. Okay. My desire as a kid was to write and direct movies. But, you don't always got the money to go to some big fancy film school. So I literally, ordered a brochure for LA Film School. My mama got it. It was in color and it was thick. And she was like, I can look at a brochure and tell you can't afford to go to this school. We can't afford it. And so your scholarship is also a state scholarship. You have to go to school in Georgia. And I was like, man. So I just majored in mass communications, television, and radio. And while I was there at my college, they didn't have a theater major, but I joined the theater guild. Okay. And so doing that, you are, especially with my 2 professors that I had, at any given moment, you could be a writer, an actor, a student director. I stage manage a lot. So I ran lights, I ran sound, I did makeup. Everybody else might not have been so quick to learn every aspect of theater, but I wanted to because I liked knowing how to do just about every job.
Okay.
And then that kind of helped me transition into knowing different jobs in film.
Okay.
And I didn't really choose makeup. I just kind of fell into it and realized, oh, I can make money.
Right, you need your makeup done, and wasn't nobody there to do it, so
That's
why not
right.
figure? That's what I've been trying to do, but I'd rather call you. Well, we don't have a lot of time, but I did want to talk a little bit about why you chose to kind of go into working in schools with kids. I am a former educator myself. I did high school as well. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't think I was gonna like it, didn't choose it. When I went to college, it kind of just fell on me. But when I got in there and when I realized the positive impact that you can have on children when you really actually care, I'm only not doing it because of the adults, not because of the children.
Right.
And then I do, still try to work with children through my organization as well. So what was your reason behind, getting into
Well,
education?
having the dream of wanting to be a professional writer and actor, that is a dream that can leave you a starving artist real quick. I have a lot of friends that really live job to job. They're, luckily represented by agents, or some of them that aren't represented by agents do it on their own. But if they don't do photography or some other freelance job like makeup artist, graphic artist or something, then they're starving, waiting for that next commercial or that next extra role on Law and Order SVU or whatever. And I just couldn't.
That's my show though.
Right.
I'll be waiting on it too.
I just couldn't do it. I got trapped in corporate America for 10 years working for an auto insurance company. And by trapped, I mean it suck you in with that benefit and that good money, but you're soul draining. Like, I'm a creative. I'm not a person that wants to work a 9 to 5. So I went into education. I always wanted to be in education because my grandmother was a third grade teacher.
Okay.
I went to her elementary school when I was in third grade. That was so hard. And my grandfather was a lieutenant, retired military, but he taught at a college. So, and I have other extended family members who are librarians and principals. It kind of is in my DNA to teach. But I always wanted to teach theater arts because that keeps me with a steady paycheck, but in my element. And then you get summers off,
Oh, yeah.
Being produce stuff, audition.
And exactly. It works out. It definitely works out.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that information. I know it's kind of hard to pack it all in one little segment. We call this the Wind Down Introduction. This segment, the next one is Wind Down Relationships. And we said this is the Girl Chat episode. So buckle up because you've been here with me before. So I try to stay on task, but I like to make sure that I ask stuff and we discuss things that people hopefully will learn, grow from, laugh at, because this is laughter too. So you guys come back for the next segment, which is Winding Down Relationships. Fill up your glass of wine. We'll see you at the next segment of the Weekly Wind Down. Welcome back to the Weekly Wind Down. I'm your host, Monique J. We have been having a great conversation with my special guest, Miss Cherie Monique. What we say this segment is Winding Down Relationships. We're having girl chat. So I'm going to ask you, I know before we were talking about, I knew you were divorced. But now, since it has been a year later, are you single or are you in a relationship?
Well, I'm going on 2 years divorce, so no, I'm single.
Still
not in a
single?
Relationship, not looking.
No, you're not looking?
Just chilling.
Okay. Well, you shouldn't be looking. They say, don't look, love will find you, is what they say. So we're not looking. Neither one of us ain't looking. But hopefully, we're just waiting. It's going to come out. Let me ask you a question. I know we kind of talk about this a lot, me and other friends of mine. Do you have more male or female friends?
Now I have more female friends. When I was in high school, I had more male friends.
Okay.
And it just kind of transitioned that way, that I had more female friends.
What do you find is the least stressful? Having more female friends or more male friends?
I think I don't know. It depends. It depends on what stage you are in your life. Because I don't find my female friends stressful. And it could be because I have female friends that don't necessarily, I made sure to choose people that don't have some of the same I mean, they have some of the same likes as I do, but some of those things that females would get in fights over, we don't usually. We have some of the same values about money, about integrity. We don't like the same type of guys. So, it's weird. Like, they compliment me because they have a trait that I wish I had, and I have a trait they wish they had, but we don't have so much of the same likes that we would be petty over something or fight over something.
Okay.
It's weird. I know some chicks get in fights over money.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, and of course, by you saying that you don't have like a lot of the same likes, which means you don't. Do you have friends that are in the like same field? Just say we're not going to talk about. We're not speaking of the educator side of things because that's generally not that competitive of a field.
Right.
But in being in theater and doing makeup and stuff, do you have friends that do that? Are you close with any of the people who do that? Or?
No, like now in my best friend circle, one of my friends, for instance, I don't get to talk to her as much because she's my best friend from college. She still lives in Georgia. So I don't get to see her as much. But, she's like married all the way in Hepzibah, Georgia. Went to school for veterinary science. Okay. We were in theater together, but she didn't do it past school like I did. Okay. So she goes to church, and she's very heavy in church and sings. So we completely different. My friend, I have all the rest of my friends, like the other 4 that live here, is one female, and one male, sorry. He's like, he's the writer. He's the one that I write with all the time because we share the exact same creative outlet. But my other 2 friends, one's has a master's in marketing, merchandising. The other one has a master's in lighting design. Okay. So they have their own companies and they work jobs, and one's married with no kids, one's married with 2 kids, and he and I are the only 2 in the circle that are in the same field and single. So it's kind of like one of them things that everybody has a field that would help each other. Do
they support you? Do they support your talents? When they need makeup done, are you the one that they call? Okay.
Oh, Valencia, she the main one. She'll call me in a minute. Girl, I'm getting an award. Come do my makeup. Girl, I'm finna be at this gala. Do my makeup. But she always pays. Like, she never asks for anything for free.
I'm glad you brought that up. And the only reason I brought it up, because I'm sure you've heard conversations of other people who, me, being honest, who are in business for themselves or have service businesses, and their friends are not who is the source of their support. Right. We have been trying, I feel like it's like trying to find Waldo, trying to find the answer to why it is like that, why it's like that, where a lot of times, if you're in a business, the people who support you are the people who you may call associates or strangers more so than the close friends and family that you are with every day. So I'll tell you, girl, congratulations to you that you don't have that issue. As you see, like with me, once I met you, once I seen you did makeup, I don't do nothing where I need no makeup without calling you. Right. And I try to, surround myself with people who are like that as well. But for some reason, you don't figure out that it obviously may be an issue until it's an issue. So again, congrats that they support you. Look, I'm gonna have to ask you for your tips on choosing friends, because you said that key too, that you choose. And I think being such a helper, and I let people choose me. And because I'm not trying to size them up, I want to help, or whatever, and give whatever I know. But then in that, it later down the line kind of turns into something that's a situation that's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, my friends are also, I've known everybody a decade or more in this circle. So one thing I will say about making new friends is that I tend to make newer friends that come in are typically guys more so than women, because women tend to, once they got their circle, that's it. And the few female friends I've made later in life since I've been out here, they fall into associate roles quick. They start off as friends and they fall off into not much later.
So we only have a minute or so left. I had a lot of questions in this segment, but I got to cut some of them off. So I'm going to just ask you first, do you believe that in soulmates, and if you had to look at any celebrity couples that you would name, if you believe in soulmates, which ones would you think that you would say, I think they are perfect soulmates for one another? Why your face look like that?
Because I'm like, because I mean, you can't really trust people. They all put on some type of face, you know.
Oh, you went into character.
Right,
Yeah,
they
girl,
doing
go
stuff
ahead.
for the gram. You know, you really can't trust what they say. I mean, I think this is probably cliche because I'm sure everybody say Will and Jada, but I think there are a lot of African American couples in the business that you don't hear a lot of stuff about. I mean, they're famous. Clearly, they get pictures and stuff taken of them, but you don't hear about African American celebrity couples getting in scandals or breaking up as much as you do.
They bringing 8-9 people allegedly, you know, and you know that's what people say. I love them too, but you know, of course, sadly, in our community, that's what we have to do. We have to find something wrong.
Yeah,
with everybody.
You never hear anything bad about Denzel and his wife, or Sam and his wife, actress Latasha Richardson. Both those couples have been together about longer, if not as long, as Jada and Will, or Courtney Vance and Angela Bassett. So
I love them too. But you didn't notice everybody who is over you didn't name people who are 49 or 50 older. You haven't named any of these young
people. Oh no, I think there's so many.
So you don't think Cardi B and Offset gonna last forever? And they soulmates.
I think maybe Nipsey and this girl that everybody's sad for, Lauren. I think they might have lasted. A lot of my students have been sad for her. I think they might have been okay.
Yeah.
I honestly put on my Facebook page one time that I'm really looking for that Overton Sinclair love. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I'm looking for.
My favorite, and I get it, and maybe it may be the Virgo sister vibe, but my favorite couple that I believe could be soulmates for one another, because I know what I'm looking for, and they look like that. She got her. What I'm looking for is Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Oh, you just
it's not perfect.
They rich.
No,
they wealthy.
It's not about that part. It's about finding. She's a boss. He's a boss. And she allows, if you ever seen them on the red carpet or at awards, when it's her time to shine, he steps back and he lets her be the star, and vice versa. And I think that in that, you know, he's very charismatic. A lot of people are like, well, he don't look like this, or he's not that cute, and Beyonce is gorgeous, and she this is that. But I don't know if you've watched him or listened to him, but he's very charismatic. He's a boss.
He's a genius. Yeah.
Most women, especially black women, want strong men who can hold their own, who can meet you on the block or meet you in the boardroom, and he's proven that he can do both, as well as her. So for me, that's my fave. But we're going to have to, season 3, we're going to have to come back, girl chat again. Remember y'all, where we cut off at.
Right.
My favorite people, Jay-Z and Beyonce, and hers, all over 50. Yes. And all over 50 couples in Hollywood. But we're going to come back for our final segment, Winding Down Money. We're going to talk about what Cherie thinks about money, what her relationship with money is like. Make sure if you glass of wine has gotten low like mine, you go fill it up, or you take a sip and come back for the next episode of the Weekly Wind Down.
So clear.
Welcome back to the Weekly Wind Down. Our Money Wind Down segment is brought to you by a team of independent influencers for Tryp Rideshare Company. The Trip of a Lifetime team says, with Tryp, our drivers are partners, and they keep 100% of their fares and tips. And riders save with no surge pricing and with Tryp Rewards savings. Tryp Rideshare, where safety for our drivers and riders is our top priority. So much so that they have created a panic button for both, and amongst all other safety features that Tryp provides. Download the Tryp Rides app today. It's available in the Google Play Store, and it will be available soon on the Apple iOS App Store. Use referral code TRYPMONIQ753 for access to Tryp Rideshare, or you can visit tripofalifetime.net for more information on Tryp Rideshare. We'll have all the information on Tryp Rideshare, Cherie's Face 84, at the end of the show in our credits, as well as information under our show's topic today. So we're going to go ahead and wind down this money. My first question, Cherie, is going to be, What is your relationship like with money? Now, I'm going to give you 3 options. Does it disappear often on you and you don't know how or why? Does it stay around and allow you to make the most of it? Or does it go away and come back in spurts, not explaining where it's been?
I would say a little bit of 1 and 3.
Okay. And why do you think it's that way? And what do you think you can do to improve that situation?
I definitely.
So you said it disappears and you don't know
right.
why. Okay.
Well, I do know. Well, I guess that's a lie. I do know why. I've gotten a lot better at my buying things that I don't need right now or don't need too much of.
Okay.
As when I first got heavy into makeup, I couldn't stop buying makeup. Like, it was endless and it was nothing for me. Of course, this is when I was married and had 2-income household,
Right.
and every other week it was, you spent $200 at Sephora. I sure did.
It's for the business.
It's for the business. That
Right.
was always justification. But then when you get divorced and you get on your own, and it's like, okay, you can't eat eyeshadow. Like,
right, exactly.
You gotta have groceries.
But then people say you have to spend, because what if you get a call from somebody who needs makeup and their skin tone is one of the colors of the makeup?
Yeah, but it wasn't that. I can see if it now I buy makeup and it is to restock my kit, but back in the day it was like one eyeshadow palette after the next, and literally you've seen my kit before. I have like maybe 3 eyeshadow palettes in there that I travel with constantly because they're the most universal for everybody's eye look.
Right.
For any given eye look I might be trying to do on sets.
Right.
But the 3 you see, that's only 3 out of maybe like 30
that's
at my house that I don't buy, that I didn't need.
Well, I'll say this, and of course, money and budgeting and expense reduction is my thing. I always say to people, of course, if that's something that is, important to you or something that you like to do, you can find a way to still get what you want, get what you need, but you have to be willing to cut back somewhere else. So currently, are you happy with your financial position? Do you think it's getting better? Or are you working towards it?
When I became a theater arts teacher, I didn't lose very much money going from the auto insurance industry. I mean, I might have lost $2,000 in salary, which I didn't care because I was going to my dream job.
Right, exactly.
I was going to teach, theater to high school students, which propels me to the overall dream career, but
it makes you always dislike waking up every day and going.
I've always had a passion for teaching it to kids and showing kids I care and all that stuff. So for me, losing the income wasn't the big deal. Right now, what I'm struggling with, because I've always, as long as I can remember, I've always been good at paying my bills on time and budgeting. I use an app right now called Fudget.
Okay.
That keeps track of in green, it'll put your incomes that you have coming in, and then in red, you can put in your expenses, and it keeps track of every month what you're spending, what's going out. And so it's a really good thing for me, because if not, my OCD would have me literally writing it by hand. I used to write that same thing by hand all the time, but now I budget, I stay on top of my bills. For me, my struggle always comes in saving money and not over buying things. The buying is slowed down, the saving needs to get better. And then, I just, it was a point I was making with that. I forgot.
That's okay. I was going to say, I like to make sure that people understand what budgeting means, because I heard you say I write down everything. And I paid this, I paid that, and what I bring in, and this and that. And a lot of times people think that budgeting is just keeping track of what you're spending.
Right.
And which is why we kind of stay in the same place, over and over, because you don't realize budgeting is looking at your total income, not what your salary says, what you bring home. Determining and saying, I can only function, my necessities and my wants should fit within 60% of this bring home pay. In that, it's a budget. And that's if you're comfortable and you're not trying to get out of debt. If you're trying to get out of debt, then all of those things need to fit in 50%. But if you are where you want to be, 60%. That other 40 off the top, 10% should automatically go into savings. So now you don't have to worry about how to save if you make that 10% and that savings be a priority, just like paying those needs and as well as those wants. And now you still have 30% of money left to do entertainment. I always say 15-20% entertainment, which means you're buying your makeup, you're going to different nails and things like that. And then you still will have about 15% left over because you shouldn't have to use your savings. That 15% should be there in your bank account for emergencies, if something goes wrong, if you constantly are keeping that 15% every month and you don't have to use it, just say for 4 or 5 months. If you need new tires, you may have that 15% may total $900, and then you should have for 4 months of the 15% that left in there.
Yeah, that formula is probably going to help me because, now I'm a teacher. There's no more biweekly. It's monthly payment,
Exactly. Well, again, Cherie, I want to thank you so much for being here today, joining me on the final episode, Girl Chat.
Season 2.
Yes, season 2, girl. We did 2 seasons. But hey, under our belt, we're going to end this now. We're going to come back for the Monique J Thought of the Day. We're going to come back so Cherie can share all of her contact information with you. So finish up your glass. I ain't going to tell you to fill it up again because then that means I'm making you an alcoholic. And I don't want to do that. So make sure that you come back for the next segment of the Weekly Wind Down. Well, final segment of the Weekly Wind Down.
Make good choices.
Welcome back to the Weekly Wind Down. I'm your host, Monique J. I've had a very special guest, Miss Cherie Monique, today with me. We're going, like we said, we're ending this episode at this segment. So I wanted Cherie to make sure that she gave you guys her contact information. We are filming live in the DFW area. So any of the services or business you have, go ahead and share it with our guests.
Gotcha. No, so basically in the DFW area, I live in Fort Worth now, since that's where I teach, but I am a freelance makeup artist. My makeup company is called Face 84. So just like Beach Face in the year 84. You can find my website at www.face84.com. We also are face.84 on Instagram and then face84 on Facebook. For emailing me if you have questions about writing or acting tips or,
if they need you to write something.
Need me to write something. I convert novels into screenplays and plays all the time. I'm a freelance stage manager for different theaters. So anything you might think my services may be of help to you, you can reach out to me. My information is on my website, but my email is shariamore84@gmail.com.
All right. Y'all got that. All right, so as promised, we're going to always end the episode with the Monique J Thought for today. I'm going to read this one because I don't want to mess it up because I really think it's very profound. So the Monique J Thought for today is: stop letting temporary situations and people have permanent places in your life and mind. You control your own destiny. Get out, make what you see and want for your life happen. So I'm your girl, Monique J. Thank you so much for watching this season of the Weekly Wind Down. Our new season will be back this September. Until then, remain in peace and not in pieces. God bless.
As my students say, purr. She icy.
You're funny.